A wild day for the Cubs from the game to trades. We get all to it right now.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Please support the show by following on your preferred audio platform, and you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode is presented by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed with Game Time. Big week for the Cubs, biggest games that they have played in years, and the Cubs lose 6-5 to the Reds to lead off that set of games, but they were down 6-1 after the top of the third inning. So there's a lot to get to, Sam. Where would you like to start?
I'd like to start by saying, before I get into a lot of negative things, I want to say that overall, and yes, this is an important loss because you're chasing this team. I still thought overall it was a positive day for the Cubs. We'll talk about the trade in a little while. But a lot of fans had doubts about the conviction and want to from this front office to try and win. And they pretty much answered all those questions today. And I thought overall, Matt, in the game, and look, there's no moral victories in this sport. Trust me, I'm going to get to it here in a second. But I thought overall, there was a lot of guys showed, you know me, Matt. These are the games I watch people closely. Not when you're 10 games out in September, not when you're up 10-1, in a game. These are those games. And I saw a lot of good, Assad, Palencia, Leiter Jr., Dansby, Yan. There was a lot of good things on Monday night. And the game came down to really, I want to say, one player and then a player / decision. And I'll start with Marcus Stroman. And
you have to.
Yeah, and I'm bothered by it. In fact, I'm ticked off because Marcus Stroman was a guy that I had my doubts about when the Cubs acquired him because of just how things ended in New York. And last year, I think, was an NA year. It really just didn't matter. And this year, I ate my words, and I ate it multiple times on the show. And then I started to get irked again when, because he had a good first couple of months, he started mentioning Jed Hoyer's names and pressers and talking about, hey, how much he wants to be here and Belly wants to be here. Keep us here. Well, you're here now, Marcus. You're here now. And guess who crapped the bed tonight in the biggest game of the season so far? You did. Not Jed Hoyer. You got nobody else to blame because now, instead of hopping on the fans' popularity rating and bashing the president of baseball operations, he went out and showed a vote of confidence in you and your teammates by going out and getting the best rental bat on the market, and you came up short again. And in the Cubs' best month of the season, in July, he finished with an 8 ERA. And the only starts that the Cubs won was his one good one against Boston in his last 6 and a game where they bailed him out last week against the Sox. And please, I beg you, Matt, I beg the listeners, if he has a blister, then that's on the Cubs for pitching him. If he's out there, it's my right as a podcaster. It's my right as a fan to judge him as I would any other time. He's pitching. And hopefully he tells you that tonight, that he's healthy. But who knows if he'll even address the media. And the second thing is, we talked about it on Monday's show. And by the way, I'm fired up again. I'm not panicked. I'm ready for this. Isn't a panic rant. This is just, we got a chance at this, and this shouldn't be happening. We talked about it on Monday. Seiya Suzuki should not even sniff the top 5 through the order. And guess what, Matthew? You lost the game by 1 run. Who didn't get a runner over to third with nobody out twice in this game? him in that 2-hole. If Mike Talkman was there,
one of them in the first inning.
If Talkman was there or anybody else, I would have felt a lot better. And Talkman had a great at bat against the lefty today. He had a rocket up the middle, and that check swing call was ludicrous. And the last thing I'll say, Matt, is I'm starting to see like Cubs Nation and the people that represent the Cubs. I saw a lot of this with Talkman today. Hey, he got rung up on a bad check swing call, but that was on him for taking 2 strikes right down the middle. Those are the same people that whine every time Suzuki gets called out on a bad call after taking. Let's hold everybody fairly accountable. Frustrating loss, a lot of good. To me, Stroman won, and really not even Seiya. The decision to put him in the 2-hole is egregious. And when we talk about Candelario in the lineup later, this is a teaser. I'll tell you where I think he should be hitting the lineup. Spoiler alert, it's 8th or 9th.
Suzuki, that is, yeah.
Yes.
Well, just a quick note on Talkman, because he got jobbed there in the 8th inning. That play notwithstanding, because there's 2 separate conversations, because the Talkman, his game is getting deep in the count.
Right.
You have to see that, and it's so refreshing that he does that. He got absolutely jobbed on Monday. But the Cubs overall do have a passivity problem, and I think way more often than not, it's really hurt them. But a clear reason for the loss, if it's just the normal post-game outline, chalking up, hey, important players, important moments, Marcus Stroman is the reason the Cubs lost the game. It's not a heartbreaker or a gut-wrencher. I'm not going to tell you it's not, but I'm saying it's not for me.
Yeah, it is for me.
Because they were down 6-1 after the starter came out after the 3rd inning.
Right.
So their top guy through the first couple of months of the year, now through the few months of the year, has completely imploded.
Yep.
He had a 2.28 ERA going into the London game, and now it's at 3.85. A whole run and a half in 5 weeks? How does that happen?
An implosion.
And it is, Sam, and I reflected on it after our text convo during the game. It is pitch execution. Now, maybe there's something physical with him going on. If there is, then it's a failure by the organization and the pitching infrastructure not to pull him off the field, or it's a failure of the organization to skip him a time or two in the rotation and put him on the IL. And what a shame that would be if they did that on Tuesday, for example. So you did that after one of the biggest games. But he is the reason for the loss, unfortunately. And he made way too many mistakes. Gomes would set up in one spot, the pitch would end up in the other. Gomes would set up in that spot, the pitch would end up in the other. And then, for the most part, the Reds would just crush those mistakes. And right away through 3 was a 5-run game, 6 runs on 6 hits, 2 walks. And it's too bad because the team fought once again. The bullpen was outstanding behind Assad, who's just been on fire lately. And there was even those more opportunities, down 6-4 in the 7th. You had runners on first and second, nobody out. And then that 6-5 in the 8th, but could not complete the comeback. So I'm looking at an opportunity here to answer back with Steele on Tuesday night. I like where this team is going, especially after the moves they made on Monday. But now you have to answer back, and that's the beauty of baseball. Because let's make no mistake about it, this team did answer the bell. They answered it. And then their president responded Monday.
Yep.
So it'd be one thing if they just folded for the rest of the year. They did the opposite. And the president said, hey, nice job. I'm going to go out and buy.
Yep.
And by the way, he might do it again Tuesday.
And the first night that he does that, the guy that had all the problems and was liking all the tweets about him came out and laid a complete and utter egg. The only thing I want to add is in that 8th inning there, I thought that ball that Morel hit was gone.
Yeah, there was a big yell at the TV where I'm at.
Yeah,
Undisclosed location, by the way.
yeah, I thought that ball was gone. I thought Madrigal's ball off the bat looked like a base hit to right field.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was a tough inning, and that's where the heartbreak for me came in that night. I just thought they had enough to rally, but yeah, I mean, if you told me before the game Stroman wasn't going to get pitch into the 4th, I would say it's unlikely. The Cubs did almost as good of a job against Abbott, and then both bullpens were stellar. The Cubs were actually better than the Reds in that category, but the Reds just had a little bit more of a cushion. If Stroman was awful, instead of an embarrassment, the Cubs win the game. So,
Yeah, 5-run cushion in a game like this, insurmountable. Monday, still 3 games with the Redlegs, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Let's
gotta
wait
get
and
2 of
see
them.
what they do, but very excited for the Cubs to take the field again on Tuesday. When they do, they're going to have a new player on the field, and we get to who that is and how he's going to fit in coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Buying tickets to your favorite event shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. You could get images of your seat as well before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Wrigley was rocking on Monday. It's going to be electric all week long. Still 6 games left at the friendly confines, 3 with the Reds, 3 with the Braves. And you can try to score some tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed with Game Time. The Cubs play the Reds at 7:05 p.m. Central Tuesday, and you can listen to every pitch with the Cubs hometown broadcast on Sirius XM. On the SXM app, search Cubs or tune into channel 844 and catch the Cubs all season long on Sirius XM. Cubs made 2 trades Monday, acquiring Jeimer Candelario from the Nationals for prospects DJ Hertz and Kevin Made, and they also got Jose Cuas from the Royals for Nelson Velasquez. Candelario has slashed .258, .342, .481 with 16 home runs and 53 runs batted in. Splits, righties, he's hitting .271 with 13 of his bombs, and lefties .227 with the other 3 home runs. He fits in nicely, especially against righties at third base or DH, I think, Sam. But I think he should at least get a shot against lefties as well at either DH or first base. But a lot to talk about in terms of this fit with the Cubs for the Candyman.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to platoon. He's going to play every day. You don't get a rental bat, like that, and pay that price for a guy that's going to sit, 2 of every 5 games. Thought it was a really interesting deal. I was really, my takeaway from the deal is forget the player, forget what they gave up. I think today was about Jed Hoyer. I think that's who this was about. I thought it was about Jed Hoyer letting the fans know, hey, I've heard you. I've been waiting for any reason to do what you wanted me to do. I didn't think that I wanted to extend Marcus Stroman. I know darn sure I didn't want to extend any of the former core. The Bellinger thing was tricky, but I'm not trading him, and I'm going for this now because I want to win. And I think that was really important for the fans. And, I've said this off the air, and I've hinted at it on the air. I just think out of the Cubs list of problems, Jed Hoyer's made some mistakes, but I really like what he's done in a lot of places. I mean, this is now almost a unanimous top 5 farm system and a team that's buying at the deadline just 2 years after you traded away everybody. I think that's really impressive. He was dealt a really tough hand from Theo Epstein that'll never get criticized, and rightfully so because of what he did here. And I really think that was about him. And letting the fans know how bad he wants this. The Cubs, and I said this on my the Locked On recap, the Cubs have so many guys like Made and Hers and all these guys that are not elite prospects, but good ones. And at some point, you got to trade them. So I really don't think this price is bad. I think they're ranked in the mid tier
Yeah.
for the most part of their system. I feel pretty good about the deal. If you told me that was going to be the price, I would take it. You still hold all the guys that we really think have a chance to be really good are all still in the system. I also think that there's a high likelihood the Cubs are in contention to sign a guy like Candelario, who was once here. I think that could be a pretty affordable deal. I don't think it has to be crazy. And it was a really good thing. The Velasquez deal, we talked about that. I think we even mentioned Velasquez's name. Flip Velasquez for a reliever. I got to do more homework on him. That deal broke right as the first pitch kind of happened. So
Yes.
I know it's a guy that doesn't have the greatest statistics, but if we've learned anything over the last couple of years, it's really not about your stats with a team. It's about a team identifying something they like and then putting you through their pitching machine and then seeing what you do. So I like both moves a lot. I think as a fan base, we have to realize that just because these moves are made, you got to win. Like you got to start winning quickly. You got to win 2 of these next 3. I think the goal was 3 out of 4 this week, but losing game 1, although, they did that against St. Louis with Stroman on the mound. And,
yeah. I mean, it's going to be a tough week.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough week. But, I thought actually Boog made a pretty decent point. Remember them being buyers now, they have some it gets a little tough here, but then it gets a lot easier. Sox, Royals,
Right.
Tigers, Rockies, things like that.
Starting a week from Tuesday, actually.
Yeah, you got to just hang in there. Give the Reds credit. I just thought, I thought it was a good move, the deal by the Cubs. And I was excited they made it, and I'm happy for the fans, and I'm happy we don't have to hear about, do they actually want to win anymore?
Yeah, I think that's a really important question that Jed answered. And I felt like a little kid throughout Monday tracking the news. And Candelario, I thought pretty clearly was the best rental bat. I think he fits so well in this lineup. He immediately improves the lineup. And, based on Cuas's numbers, 4.54 ERA and 41 innings, that's not going to be the only reliever they get. They're going to get 1 or 2 more guys on Tuesday, I would think.
Yeah.
And I'm confident in Jed. If he's up to this on Monday, granted the whole baseball world was active. The deadline
not that active though. That was the biggest trade of the day.
Yeah. And for him to do the biggest trade on a highly active day, although the Rays made a shrewd move with Savale, Sam. But
the Rays are the Rays.
Yeah. But it was a great deal. I'm actually a little surprised that you got into the cost part of it as much as you did. I think before this week, I was more of like, hey, who's available, who's not. And
yeah.
I think for a rental bat, it strikes me as the cost that it should be, especially the way that Candelario's played.
I think it's less.
You think it's less? Yeah, I don't know it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd have to call Lindsey Crosby.
I think considering what they had to not give up a unanimous top 10 guy in your own system for what many people now that Bellinger's not tradable are saying the best rental bat on the market, I think it was a good price.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. And I want more change to happen, and I want the lineup to be maximized.
But it hasn't been all
better
season.
Value and better production.
And so that was the point I got away from.
Because against lefties,
yeah,
Madrigal can start at third.
Sure.
But are they actually going to do that?
Well, but the thing is the point I got away from, and then I want to talk about a potential lineup with you real quick before we
Jeimer should play for Mancini. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, obviously.
Okay.
Everybody in the world thinks that, but 2 guys.
But it's got to be said, though.
Yeah. The thing is Jed's biggest problem to me right now is his devotion to the skipper. And if he has any say in the lineup, it's been a disaster all season. You're going to hit and you're going to miss on certain guys. You can't keep running out these guys. And I just hope, Matt, and I know it's the case that they, because Suzuki hits 2 and he shouldn't, and Mancini plays he shouldn't. Those are 2 guys that have a big paycheck. And I think that
Right.
stinks. I think that stinks. Let's just real quick. Let me tell you what I would do versus righties, because lefties is a little tricky. Let me tell you what I would do versus righties. You ready for this? I know we don't have a graphic. It is what
I'm
it
really
is.
excited.
You're doing the show from,
Undisclosed.
yeah, no, like it looks like Guantanamo Bay or something. So
And I'm
we all
fine,
know
by the way.
we all know that the top two is the top two, and we all know that I don't agree with it, but I'm just gonna let that be. So Talkman, Horner, okay.
Okay.
Cody
This
Bellinger,
is obviously against righties.
yes, I said that.
Okay.
Cody Bellinger,
Undisclosed location. Go ahead.
Cody Bellinger should not have an at bat. He should be guaranteed an at bat in the first inning. Okay, he should
Of
be
course.
he should be batting third for this baseball team.
Right.
And then I would go, if you want to mix left, right, left, go Dansby 4, Candelario 5. Okay.
Okay.
Then I'd go Ian Happ 6, Jan Gomes 7, Christopher Morel 8, and Seiya Suzuki 9.
Yeah, that is a walk off the show moment, because this guy was so hyped. He's worth a lot of money, and he hasn't produced worth a bleep in his
I want you to tell me one
year and a half on the north side. He hasn't.
I want you to tell me, but first of all, that lineup sounds great, by the way.
It does.
Talkman, Horner, Belly, Dansby, Candelario, Ian, Jan, Morel, Seiya. I want you to tell me one guy Seiya is a better hitter than in that lineup right now.
I don't think anybody.
No.
It's
nobody.
And don't you think that
Yes.
a common order would help?
You mean against left and right?
I mean in general. I had to do this on the fly. So this was game 106 today, Monday. How many
53.
batting orders have the Cubs had?
Oh, probably
Game 106,
probably in the 70s, 80s.
95.
Yeah. No,
That's
it's not.
horrible.
No.
That is bleeping terrible, man.
Well, and the best gamer, the best competitor on this team is Talkman, and they just
95 out of 106. That's better than all the tests you got at Stevenson.
by a lot.
I mean, geez.
By a lot. If I was getting 95 to 106 consistently, I wouldn't be doing this show. I'd be doing brain surgery. What is that? Like a 91%?
Yeah, it's 90. Yeah.
No, it's annoying, the lineup stuff.
That's a good word for it. Yeah.
And I just think at some point with the Mancini thing, and I there's no, he went over on the walk today, fine. Maybe just do like an IL or something.
Yep.
Heck,
Well, yeah. So that's the other thing. You have to make at least two roster moves for Candelario.
It feels like Wisdom's the odd man out. Which, by the way,
maybe he gets traded for a reliever.
And I think that's a mistake if he's the odd man out instead of Mancini. That's just because of cost. I will say, though, by the way, too, I wouldn't be opposed to Suzuki. Against righties, let Talkman play some right and sit him.
100%.
And I said this. I thought this.
Dude.
I thought this was one of my better tweets tonight. I had about 620 of them, or whatever you call them now with this new branding.
It's horrible.
X's, tweets, messages, diaries,
terrible.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Jed proved that he will go out and buy to win. But is he willing to do the next step to win, which is let the world know he made a mistake with his first baseman, and let the world know that his $100 million right fielder right now isn't close to competing, and moving those guys out of the picture, or at least down the picture. I still think Suzuki has a place in the lineup at times. Like he's not at Mancini's level, but it's not that far off, guys. I mean,
right.
He's OPSing like 710 since May. He's the worst hitter on the team.
Yeah, there's no evidence for his place that he's in currently, which
there's
was
no
what we've
evidence
been trying to
that
tell
the
you.
quote unquote breakout unquote is coming at all.
And I have to say, on whatever the heck social media we're calling this, I'm not going to call it X. Okay, that's just stupid.
Yeah,
it did well, but I actually thought your Stroman tweet was going to go viral. I have to tell you.
Which one? I had about 25 to 30 of them.
The one where you called him out for him calling out Jed.
Should I read it live on air? Or?
Yeah, I'd like for you to do that.
All right. So there's just a lot of Stroman ones. So
It did really well, like all your stuff does, but I thought it was going to go like huge, and it still might.
Did it start with the guy you outed publicly?
Yes.
The guy you outed publicly goes out and buys before you start against one of the teams you're chasing, and you don't even give the team a chance. And then I put eye rolling. And then my next tweet was Stroman went from, quote, I can't believe the Cubs aren't extending him, close quote, to very lucky he has an opt-in at the end of the year. That's why you let the year play out. His ERA is now 3.87. And the last thing I'll say on Stroman, and I know you don't feel this way, Matt, and I know a lot of people don't feel this way, but I do, so I'll say it. I really hope he speaks tonight because I really value accountability. And when you've been this bad for this long, I think I do think, and I know if Stroman were listening to this, he'd probably block me on Twitter, which I'm surprised he already hasn't done because that's what he does. And he would say, I don't know anybody, anything. But I think you owe the fans like something of, hey, it was location. Like if he came out tonight and said, hey, I'm healthy, that's not what it is. I just got to pitch better. To a lot of people, that means nothing. That means something to me. Like when Jameson Tyone came out and he faced the music every single time he had a bad start. He was out there. So,
and it was at the podium. He would do the large group availability.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't have any proof
not just by his locker.
But I think you're supposed to do that when you're the starting pitcher. I think you're.
I think that's probably right. I don't know that for sure, but that sounds right. Starting pitcher and manager.
It's like when guys have a bad playoff game, in basketball, they got to go up and answer the questions. That's why you make the big bucks. Just because you're a little bit sad that you didn't pitch well, you talk to the media.
Yeah.
And if he did, I apologize because we are recording this after the game.
Yeah, and I did check before we press record and hadn't seen anything yet, so we'll stay tuned for that. Coming up next, Pete Crow-Armstrong is going up. We talk about it next. We're back here on Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen. Cubs top prospect and one of the best prospects in all of baseball, Pete Crow-Armstrong, has been promoted from AA Tennessee to AAA Iowa. That was announced Monday afternoon. PCA is absolutely, especially recently, tore up AA. Very well-deserved promotion to AAA. And if you're a suspicious mind or you try on your suspicious hat every once in a while, especially this time of year, I thought the AAA outfielder was on the way out because of this. And sure enough, Nelson Velasquez did get traded to the Royals Monday. So there's a spot for PCA, and he's going to begin his run in Des Moines on Tuesday. Sam, this is a really good timing, I think, for a promotion. I know there was some impatience the last couple of weeks, but that 10 games isn't going to do any harm. And he really earned it from how he's been doing, especially as of late. And I'm excited to see him on this next rung of the ladder.
Pete Crow-Armstrong slashing at AA Tennessee before this promotion. 289, 371, 527 with an 898 OPS. Gold Glove defense in center field. I would say the only thing that really pops out to me negatively at all, this is being extremely picky, is he has 8 caught stealings. So I kind of labeled him for a guy that's going to be like 45 to 50 a year. If he's getting caught 8 times at AA, probably means he's not quite ready yet to steal that many bases. But by all means, this guy is a legitimate blue chip prospect. The comp that I threw out this weekend was a better defensive version of Lars Nootbaar. Now, I don't think PCA has that type of power, that raw 450-foot power, but he does have 14 home runs at AA, which is in 73 games. I mean, that's,
it's not a small amount.
No, especially there. It's not the easiest place.
Right.
So, I think he's pretty much going to be locked in as a at minimum a 3-4 WAR player right away. I think him being called up to AAA gets me excited about the prospects of him joining the Cubs early in 2024.
Yep.
I can't wait to see how he adjusts. And one thing about PCA, I just want to mention, because he's obviously one of the guys that I have been following closely along with Horton. He has an edge to him that nobody on this current team has. And outside of maybe Adbert. And what I mean by that is, and Talkman does too. Like he's been thrown out of a couple games, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, and he gets into like calls and things like that. And I just think that team, Dansby's a leader, but he's quiet.
Right.
Like
right.
I really like this kid, and I think that overall, with the Candelario trade and the PCA promotion and the reliever deal, it was a positive day. The Marcus Stroman thing is interesting, but at the end of the day, if he's a part of the team in 2024 at this point, it's most likely going to be because he opted in, and you're going to get him at a fair price anyway, which won't hurt the Cubs at all. So future-wise, it was a great day today. Things are headed in the right direction, but they got to get a win with Justin Steele on the mound. He got his worst start of his career was against the Reds this last time out.
Shout out to the everydayers who are with us all 5 episodes throughout the week, and you can become an everydayer by checking us out each and every weekday. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube and smash the like button for the algorithm. I think there's a chance that by the end of Wednesday, we're at 5,000 subs.
That'd be pretty cool,
that
man.
fast. Smash the like button for the algorithm, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on Sirius XM. For Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy from an undisclosed location. And this is Locked On Cubs.